All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you had a wonderful and rested weekend because we are about to enter one of the biggest and final weeks of 2023. So we got the CPI, we have Jerome Powell in the dot plot on Wednesday, but there is a bunch of other events, and after this week, it's probably going to start slowing down, but the answer that we get, oh my goodness, is it going to be important? And if you didn't see what happened on Friday, yes, we hit a new high of the year by 2 points. And you see this chart here, right? I mean, I hate to be the guy to show you this, but take a look at this one. I showed you this a while ago, but now I believe you're right around here. And our August or through October was a little bit worse than 1999, but now we are almost playing out the same. You remember that whole bonds, 1999 or 2006? Well, even the NASDAQ is playing along. So, Chad, we got a lot to talk about. I got the breakdown of the week. We're going to go over the main keys, a couple of things that you need to watch out for with Powell. I have a couple of plays, and what I need from you, a thumbs up on the video. Make sure you're subscribed. And if you don't know, we are live Monday through Friday, 30 minutes before open, youtube.com/thestockmarket. We will see you there in the morning, and for every data event, CPI, we're going to be early. Jerome Powell, we are going to be streaming all of that live. So hopefully we see you. And before I forget, before anything, today is Sunday. Tomorrow is Monday. This is the Charles Schwab random account generator. Well, no, this is the long term. This is the random account generator. What we need from you, a random option play. Keep it below $100 and post it in the comments. Strike price, expiration date, all of that good stuff. And we are going to randomly pick it tomorrow. So thank you for participating. And now, run it, baby.
Working to the couch, it's the 2020 election. Live in the hills, but I still get a spread. Started with a live, but I still reinvest it. Feel how I feel, then you feel like a blessing. I just want the lesson, I just want protection. I'm up and I'm down, but they sound like progression. Farmer never plans if he waits for perfection. Finger to the down, hold it.
Right off the bat, before we get into what we got to deal with next week, what the hell happened on Friday? There was a lot. So remember, we had the non-farm payrolls, and it was kind of a doozy because the number came in at 199,000. Remember, the expectations were for like 180 to 170. Bloomberg was down at 150, and it came in at 199. You would think that would have been a hot number, and the market would have went down because it was good news, so that should have had a bad reaction. Well, we didn't see that on Friday, and the reason is why. Why did that occur? Because right after the report, even though it was higher, you had a lot of people saying, well, the 3-month average is still below the 200,000, and now that still means that we're going to get a soft landing. And then if you look at the top 12 biggest banks and their expectations coming into it, they were all around 200,000 or lower. If anything, only about 4 different estimates were lower than what actually came in. The other 8 were all higher. So it allowed the market to kind of hold up. But then this is where the real doozy comes in. We had a gigantic reaction off of the Michigan consumer sentiment. Look at this. This is the 1-year inflation expectations, and this is so delayed because remember, as oil was plummeting, 1-year expectations were going up. That was not what was happening last year when oil was actually going up a lot. So it seems like there was a big delay, but that came in at 3.1. You go to the 5-year expectations, those plummeted as well, and this is what kind of set off that second leg of a rally, and then we proceeded to melt up, and now we are getting ready for the data this week. So that's how we got here. The market hit a new high, but now let's talk about what we're going to deal with. I'm already telling you, it's going to be the biggest week of the year. Yeah, we've had SVB. We've had a lot of different things this year, but now kind of coming into the end, this is where a lot of people are going to be looking for answers, and you're going to see it. If there's good answers, the market likes what it sees, and it's able to keep assuming this soft landing Goldilocks narrative, it's going to be a big week because then everybody's going to be running for the highs as we end it out. But if it kind of throws cold water on all of it, it's going to leave this year in a place that we've already been since July, maybe even lower. So it's going to be important, and the CPI is going to be on Tuesday, but the real main event is going to be Wednesday and the dot plot. So why is this important? I'm going to explain a little bit more of the Fed here, but if you don't know, every 3 months, it even says here, indicated by a star, this meeting is associated with a summary of economic projections. We've made a lot of videos on this year because a lot of people have been saying it's important. You may think this looks familiar. This is the dot plot, and this is where I think the main focus is going to be. So we'll talk about that, but the one thing you need to understand here is already leading into it, analysts in Wall Street, they are placing a lot of focus on the statement as well as the press conference, especially after we heard from Waller and Powell. So the statement, right when it comes out 30 minutes ahead of the press conference, people are going to be looking for any changes in that. Is there going to be any wording shifts that will indicate a hawkish bias or a dovish bias? And then everyone's saying, pay attention to Powell, pay attention to Powell. Why? Because Waller, who used to be a little bit more hawkish, remember a couple weeks ago, he was saying, we're seeing really good signs. He was taken as very dovish. Even Powell, he had the opportunity to push back the other day. He said, we're not raising rates at all, but he did say his old phrase of, maybe we'll do more, but the market took it as very bullish. It was dovish in nature. So the SEP, I do think it is going to be the set-all, be-all, but getting into all of this, everybody is looking for Wednesday to see, do we get more evidence of an easing bias, or is it going to be a hawkish dot plot that will do the work no matter what they say, just like last time? This is why, I'm literally looking at it right now. Remember, it was end of July there? This dot plot was super important, and ever since this came out, September, not July, but ever since it came out, the market started going absolutely crazy. So at the end of the year, we only have 2 weeks left of the year after this. This is going to be the main event. So that's what we're going to be dealing with this week. It should be very excited, but don't forget, you get that CPI, and then we have more than just the United States. The ECB and Bank of England, they are going to be making rate decisions as well. And if you're not familiar, recently Germany hit all-time highs. They were rallying like crazy last week. And just as you've heard of the United States, everyone's saying our rate cut expectations, pricing into March, this many rate cuts. Well, they've been doing the same thing with the ECB and the Bank of England. They have also had a bullish narrative for what is going to be happening with rates. So we're going to get to hear from there, and then we are also going to be getting a bunch of other data. I think Japan PPI is going to be on Tuesday. You're going to get a bunch of China retail sales, industrial production data, Japanese manufacturing data, and to even jump back to the States, you're also going to be getting a PPI right before the Fed. That's going to be happen the morning of the Fed on Wednesday. And then you're getting a 3-year, a 10-year, and a 30-year bond auction. So there's going to be so much that we are going to be dealing with this week. Obviously, the most important will be CPI and ultimately Powell, but there is going to be a lot of things that have the opportunity to move bonds and equities, or maybe we watch equities do one thing and bonds do their own thing, especially as we get into the end of the year. So Chattadonia, I hope you're ready for all of it, and here's the good news about everything. You don't have to wait too long. The action is starting on Tuesday, so we're going to find out really, really shortly tomorrow. That'll be the setup day. That's why, we hit all-time highs, or a new yearly high on Friday, but we don't know yet what the momentum is going to do. Is this going to be the top? Are we going to go a lot higher? Is it going to look like 1999? Who knows? But after this week, once we get these answers, these were the answers we were waiting for, and then it's going to slow down, and before you know it, everything is going to be all about punting until next year and getting ready. But this might very well be our last active week until we get something. We're going to get Japan right after that, but for the most part, until Japan, this should be the most active week for the market. So I hope you're ready, but let us get into the plays. So Chad, I hope you're ready for it. Again, there's a lot we could say about this week, but it's more so, let's just get into it and see what it throws at us. Like I'm saying, you have already been ready for all of this and should know what's going on. So now it's just a matter of, well, we're data dependent. We got to see the data and be okay. Anyways, but as far as your first play, though, I got to start off here with Uber. one, it's unrelated to anything going on, and this is where a lot of the plays I'm looking at are going to be at. This is what I'll tell you right now. If Powell gets in the way, if CPI is negative, I would look for volatility plays. I would look to short some of the plays that have been leading if we really do get a bearish outcome. If not, then you got to start looking around, and one thing I want to look at too is companies with their own individual news. So this is where Uber's coming into play. The travel-based stocks, they were really hot last week, and now coming into big data and then the holidays, I think the market is going to slow down a little bit after we get the first move. So why I'm saying Uber, because this thing is about to break out to all-time highs. So, like I'm saying, you got the potential for big data to drive it up. Even without it, if it starts making an all-time high move, when was the last time you saw a high-growth name, especially one that was hyped from back in like 2019, start to run and hit all-time highs? It's been a while. So they're running off of the S&P news, and I think that happens towards the end of the week here. They're near all-time highs. There was good news last week. If everything goes good with the data, I would definitely be watching out for the all-time breakout on Uber. That is going to be play number one. Then play number two. This one went crazy, and I'm glad we talked about it. I wasn't able to get a play on it, but AMD, and they went nuts after that AI stuff last week. And like I'm saying here, I would be watching to see how this continues after the data, and I think it might move a little bit slower. And what I mean by that is, like, you could see it. It had that huge run up there. Even though Friday was good, it like kind of went up and calmed down. There's a lot of big volume. I mean, they're not moving the same way as like a NVIDIA. I guess they are. They're kind of getting up there, but I mean, NVIDIA is already broken out, but I think they're going to have the ability where tomorrow it's probably going to be in its own little world. People are going to wait for updates, but after the data, they were the winner ahead of this. People got excited after that event there. If the data is good, I would watch for the follow-up, and then a lot of those options I was watching on Friday, you may get a big decay if this slows down, so watch out for any froggers. That's what we were talking about, but that is going to be play number two, and then finally, play number three. This one I think is going to be very interesting. Google. There was drama over Friday, Thursday about their Gemini presentation. They had their AI thing. They said they're coming out with the biggest, most advanced AI supercomputer, but then there was reports that it was like an edited presentation. It wasn't even live. People were saying it was fake, and they're bringing up all of these things. It's hard to tell which way the market is going to take this and if people want to respond negatively or not, but why I'm bringing this up, I said this a lot throughout last week. The last time that Google had a bad AI presentation, I think it dropped them the most since 2008. I think it was right here. Remember, beginning of the year, they kind of had that little failure. Even after their earnings brought them up, people did not like it at all. So they're holding a lot better, so watch out for any volatility, but also at the same respect, if everybody wants to brush this off, it's definitely going to be one where good data, forget about it, and then we get our end of the year melt up, whatever, so on and so forth. So we'll see what happens, but Chad, those are my only plays that I had. We did make a couple of plays on Friday. I don't think I have the futures open up on this one here, but I did make a flip out of the RTY. We ended up walking away with 500. I chickened out at the beginning because the job data was strong. I still had a $500 profit. It ended up running still in the M2K, but then I flipped out of an NQ. That was an intraday day trade if you were there, and then that CL, I was actually able to get out with like a $500 or $420 profit on that one after all of that. So I'd even keep an eye on for oil, and then just as why I'm bringing this all up with the plays, we're still in the M2K, and I think depending on how this plays out, man, the Russell is still going to be one of these big factors, and I think towards the end of the year, and we only got 2 more weeks left, so I hope you're ready. But Chad, that is your watch list, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure hydrate healthy, ready to go. Make sure post your watch list. Make sure we see you there in the morning. I need the armor on. I need the helmet shining. And I need you to remember, baby, everything you do, do it with love. Let your passion fall through and understand. Love is very, very deep. And there's a big part of love called charity. Don't you ever forget that. Always do good. Be a helping hand. And get ready for next year, baby. It's game time, but I love you. I will see you all in the morning. Get ready for an exciting week and horna.